have experienced sexual violence, including rape, which has caused a myriad of problems. Physical injuries, long-time psychological trauma, broken families, socio-economic exclusion and stigma. Tonight, we bring you our feature Stolen Innocence, where our very own Abigail Shira looks at the journey of a rape survivor that has lived with the scars for 11 years now.
I was so bitter. I was so angry. I was so broken. She prayed with me. And then she told me, I remember her words so correctly. She told me, Mama, I can't offer you the legal advice you're looking for. I can't advise you. I'm just a girl like you. But I'd advise you when you go home, speak to your parents about it. Let them know. And for the first time, I had sleep.
Pain, fear, regret, bitterness, anger, and grief are the normal feelings people have when they lose something dear to them. But these feelings hit on a different level when a part of you is ripped out forcefully and against your wish.
It is an underrated pain when one has to live with death as a constant neighbor, not because they're necessarily in danger, but because their dignity was ripped out of them, and in turn, this has brought a toll on both their mental and psychological health. This is the health aftermath of rape.
Rape. A heinous act that robs survivors' peace of mind, locking them in the dark, waiting to prey on both young and old, rich and poor, both male and female. Data shows that approximately 1,000 cases of rape are reported yearly, with over 5,000 cases reported during the COVID-19 pandemic. 1 out of the cases are reported, while only 1 out of 6 victims seek medical and psychological help. Surviving such an ordeal leaves scars, maybe not physical, but psychological scars will always be there. The journey to recovery takes a toll on survivors as they find ways to cope with their new reality. At the age of 12, Alberta, not her real name, had her innocence stolen. 11 years later, the dark cloud of that day still hangs around.
I was defiled at 12, and I was defiled by my teacher. I was in class 7 then.
As she gives her story, you can almost see the unshed tears hanging loosely on her eyelids.
It was on a Saturday, August 12th, and we were having supper. And then I did something wrong. I stepped on one of my classmates who went and reported me to the teacher, of course. Now, where we were at the dining hall and where the office is, well, it's quite a distance. But then now you see the students were not around, neither were the teachers. It was just my deputy around. So when I went to the office and he was there waiting for me. And when he saw me, you know, the wicked smile. But, well, I didn't really understand because, well, I was on the wrong, you know. And first things first, he told me to kneel down. And then he took off his belt. So at first I thought he wanted to lash me out with the belt or something, because hakuwa na kiboko kwa ofisi, so that alikuwa ataka kunichapa na mshipi. It was normal, you know. But then now, after ametoa mshipi, of course he hit me with it, and then minutes later I saw him unbuttoning his trouser and something, and then he slapped me across my face and I fell on the ground. And I don't know, I can't quite explain exactly what happened, because The next thing, he was tearing my dress and he was covering my mouth. And I was so shocked. I couldn't scream. I didn't know what to do. I didn't know what was happening. And yeah, that's when he forced himself on me. I can't quite piece everything together because I got numb completely. I felt cold. I didn't feel anything at all. I didn't feel pain. I didn't feel anything at all. I was so numb. And he finished, and there I was, you know, sitting on my own blood. My dress is stained.
And as if taking her innocence was not enough, the perpetrator denied her any peace of mind, forcing her in a cage inside her head.
So he threatened me then. He told me, if you tell anybody, I'm going to kill you. And I'm going to repeat this if you dare open your mouth. So I was used to being silenced. So by then it wasn't even a big deal. So I was silenced again.
What led her to speak about the predicament was nothing compared to the fear of stigmatization she thought she'd receive from those she confided in. Her journey to recovery was not a walk in the park.
My esteem was already destroyed. I was done thinking about, living a day after. Like every day felt like hell. That's cool. I didn't know who to tell. Because again, I was threatened, right? So I didn't know who to tell. And I remember I began to be suicidal then. I started taking pills. Like I'd go to the nurse's room and steal a Moxil. Just come and take a Moxil on overdose, because now I knew medicine could destroy your liver and you could die, right? So I thought that was an easy way to die. Instead of, trying to hang myself, people would know, but if I just take medicine, it will take them a lot of time before they discovered what killed me.
11 years later, the nightmare still comes back to life. Any trigger takes her back to the invisible cage.
So the day that I decided to speak up, I remember I woke up my best friend, and it was around, I think it was around 3 a.m. I'm telling her, let's wake up. What is it? She wakes up and she's like, what's up? I'm telling her, Luis, I'm done. I'm exhausted. What's wrong? I've been carrying it for a very long time. What happened? I was raped at 12, and that thing is disturbing me every single day. I can't sleep. When I close my eyes, I see that man. When I close my eyes, I see a lot more coming. I'm so scared. And I remember the first thing Lois did before she even gave me advice. She prayed with me. She prayed with me. She held my hand and she said this particular prayer, that I should find peace, and forgive myself. And I didn't think that was possible. Because forgiveness was so far from me. I was so bitter.
To the world, she conceals her pain. Her smiles and beauty make her look okay, but behind that is a clutter of herself, broken in pieces trying to be whole again.
I'm happy of where I am right now. I am a girl who does not hate men anymore. I'm not at the space where I want to punish them too. At least I'm not that girl anymore that used to, hate herself so much for that. At least through the help, through the counseling, I've been able to heal psychologically. Through me talking about it to my friends, to my parents, it has really gone a long way.
The journey to recovery is not easy, even for the willing. We speak to psychologist Mariam Musa.
When rape happens, it's important. Evidence preservation is very, very important. And so the person, and this is the part that really is a major challenge, because most of the cases, the person feels like they need to shower immediately. And this is what happens. And so they're supposed to go to the hospital immediately. They are supposed to carry everything, the clothes, the way they were. So that if there is any tear on the clothes, maybe if there is any blood or any fluids, that one will be taken in. And even when the clothes are carried or the linen is taken, the care should be taken so that it's not contaminated.
What happens when one falls victim?
The person also is supposed to get psychological first aid, because remember, immediately the counseling might not work immediately. They need just psychological first aid and reassurance.
Most are times when survivors blame themselves for these kind of atrocities meted against them, but at what point are they vulnerable?
The victim is extremely vulnerable because they have been subjected to that vulnerability and with broad knowledge of everybody else. So people know that this child has made a mistake, or the student, and so they're in the office. And so whatever happens there, if that teacher decides to take advantage of this child, chances of that child getting support are minimal.
Mariam speaks on the different behaviors that victims speak from these incidents.
They might grow up learning that there is no justice in this world. And they might either decide to be reactive, they want to get justice for themselves by behaving in a manner that ensures they protect themselves, because now they know that there's nobody else to protect them. They all undergo a series of emotions that really affects their life in a much, much bigger way. And you find that the person even develops things like suicidal tendencies.
There are parents who respond positively when this information gets to them, while others don't. How should they respond?
Provide a safe space so that they're able to share, they're able to discuss, they're able to confide in you. When they're still young, teach them about the sensitive parts where nobody should touch them.
Justice in most cases is always elusive. Perpetrators left to walk the streets and times preying on another vulnerable person.
Those who might want to have out-of-court settlement. And remember, when you do this, it will settle the outward issue, but that child has been hurt, the child has a raw wound, and even that might just complicate it, because then they would think, okay, I'm not so important, and so it's the money or the whatever they have agreed to get that is important to them. And
psychologists that have walked on the journey with survivors call on survivors to seek help.
It's important for the victims' well-being that they get psychological support immediately, they get physical and attention and all that.
As for Alberta, she has become better by the day. Only a little more patches, but her courage to speak about her story still leaves me dumbfounded.
I'm not where I was, and I'm aiming for higher. If there's anything I want is for those like me to understand that it is never their fault and it is okay. and it will hurt for a little while. But when you speak about it, when you get someone you can talk to, please talk. It goes a long way, it helps big time. And if you can, get psychological help too.
It is a joy when a bleeding wound is patched up. It is more fulfilling when that wound gets healed. The scar might just be a reminder of the accident that happened, but the fact that it is not painful anymore, it is something that you'll find yourself forgetting it ever happened at all. For Look Up TV, my name is Abigail Shira.